The very last topic in muscle physiology that we're going to cover are the different types of muscle fibers. Not all muscle cells are the same within different types of skeletal muscles. And we classify muscle fibers into three categories, but the three categories are based on two characteristics. The first characteristic is speed of muscle contraction. Are the muscle contractions slow or are they very fast? And this largely depends upon how fast myosin ATPases split ATP. So myosin ATPases is myosin. If you're an ATPase, that means you're some protein, some enzyme that breaks ATP and harnesses the energy. The second is the pattern of electrical activity of the motor neurons. So those two things determine how fast or slow a muscle contracts. If it can break down the ATP very quickly and it's getting stimulated very quickly, the muscle will contract fast. The second characteristic is the metabolic pathways. So how fast will ATP be actually generated? Oxidative fibers use aerobic pathways, whereas glycolytic pathways or glycolytic fibers use anaerobic glycolysis primarily. So let's look at the three types of skeletal muscle fibers. This is a table from your book. I'm going to go through and kind of mention and compare different characteristics of the three skeletal muscle fibers. So notice their names: slow oxidative, or SO fibers, fast oxidative glycolytic fibers, FOG, or fast glycolytic fibers, FG. So let's first look at the slow oxidative fibers. Slow oxidative fibers, if you actually looked at the muscle tissue, it would appear dark red. So that's right here at the color. The color of these cells are different. Slow oxidative fibers are dark red because there's large amounts of myoglobin and there's large amounts of blood capillaries. So slow oxidative fibers are red mainly because of the large amount of blood flow and myoglobin. So these have a lot of oxygen available to them, hence the oxidative. So they rely heavily on aerobic cellular respiration. If we look at the fast oxidative glycolytic, they're kind of middle of the road. They have a lot of myoglobin, they have a lot of mitochondria and capillaries, but they appear more reddish pink. Whereas the fast glycolytic fibers have very low levels of myoglobin, less mitochondria, less blood flow, and the muscle tissue actually appears more white than red. And this has to do with the fact that these muscle cells rely more on anaerobic glycolysis than aerobic respiration. Let's compare then the rate in which ATP is broken down. Very slow in the oxidative, but very fast in the other two. That leads to an increased velocity or speed of contraction in the fast oxidative glycolytic and the fast glycolytic. Fatigue resistance. So how fast will the muscles become fatigued? These faster contracting muscles, the fast oxidative glycolytic and the fast glycolytic, will tend to fatigue faster. So the slow oxidative fibers have a higher degree of being able to resist that fatigue. Notice the glycogen levels. If you're going to rely on glycolysis, you're going to have a higher or require a larger amount of glycogen stores. So those are some of the features, some of the characteristics. Where would you find these different fiber types? Well, the slow oxidative fibers, which contract quite a bit slower than the other two, they rely a little more on oxygen availability. They're going to resist fatigue a little more, are found more in your postural muscles, such as those in your neck. You really don't want those neck muscles to fatigue quickly, or you would lose your posture. So the function of these slow oxidative fibers are to maintain posture, but they're also very good at aerobic endurance activities. Fast oxidative glycolytic are found more in the lower limb muscles. So these are going to be used more for walking and sprinting. They don't fatigue as much as the fast glycolytic. They don't resist fatigue like the slow oxidative. And then finally, the FG fibers are found mostly in the upper limbs. They have much more fast contractions, very intense movements, short durations, but they fatigue the quickest of the three. So different types of muscle fibers found in different types of muscles, because these different types of muscles do different things for you. Some muscles have to be able to resist fatigue much more because you're usually maintaining posture much longer periods of time than when you're walking and then when you're using your arms a lot. If you think about it, if you're moving your arms vigorously, they fatigue very quickly. If you're moving your legs, you can probably move your legs longer than you can move your arms, and then you can maintain posture much longer than both of those. So hopefully this helps describe these three types. It's very important that you understand that you would need to be able to have these different types of muscle fibers based on what you need to do, whether you're postural, leg muscles, or arm muscles.